So we're going to talk about Michael Myers today, and I want you to understand right off the bat, this isn't just some horror movie character analysis. This is about what Michael represents psychologically and why he terrifies us on a different level. Because Michael Myers isn't just a killer, he's the embodiment of something we don't want to admit exists. Let's start with what we know. Michael Myers was 6 years old when he murdered his older sister, Judith. It's Halloween night, 1963. His parents come home and find him standing outside the house holding a bloody knife, wearing a clown costume, completely blank expression, no motive, no explanation, no emotion whatsoever. And that's the thing that sets Michael apart from every other horror villain. There's no tragic backstory. No abuse that broke him, no demon possession, or supernatural cause, or a curse that made him that way. He was just born that way. Dr. Sam Loomis, the psychiatrist, spent 15 years trying to reach him, trying to find something human inside. And you know what he found? Nothing. Loomis literally described him as having the devil's eyes. He says Michael is pure evil, that there's nothing left inside him to appeal to. Now, from a clinical psychological point, what are we actually looking at? Michael Myers displays every single characteristics of severe antisocial personality disorder, psychopathic features. But even that diagnosis doesn't fully capture what he is. Let's break it down. First, there's the complete absence of empathy. And I don't mean he lacks empathy the way some people are just kind of selfish or self-centered. I mean there is zero emotional recognition of others that matter. When Michael kills, there's no rage, no excitement, no sadistic pleasure. He's not getting off on the power or the fear. He's just doing it the same way you and I take out trash. It's a task, nothing. That level of detachment is actually really rare, even among serial killers. Most killers have some kind of emotional investment in what they're doing. Anger, sexual gratification, and need for control, anything. Michael has nothing. Second characteristics, the predatory stalking behavior. Michael doesn't just find victims and kill them quickly. He watches, he follows. He appears in the backgrounds of scenes, just standing there observing. This is assessment behavior. He's studying the prey the same way animals study movement before they attack. What's chilling about it? He's patient, inhumanly patient. He'll watch Laurie Strode all day. He'll let her see him multiple times. He's not in a hurry. He's not worried about getting caught. Because on some level, I don't think Michael processes consequences. His brain doesn't calculate risk the way ours does. Think about the mask for a second. The white William Shatner mask that became iconic. Psychologically, what does that mask represent? It's the complete erasure of identity, of humanity. It's a blank slate. Michael isn't wearing the mask to hide who he is. He's wearing it because that's what he is. Nothing. A void in the shape of a person. And that's what we see when we look at him, the absence of everything that makes someone human. Now let's talk about his fixation on Laurie Strode, and later his family, because that's where things get really interesting from a psychological standpoint. In the original timeline, there's no family connection. Laurie is just a random teenage girl, so why does he focus on her? My theory, she represents something he's trying to destroy. Not her specifically, but what she symbolizes. Laurie is innocent. She's kind, responsible, caring. She babysits kids. She's a good person. And I think on some level, Michael is drawn to it. The way a virus is drawn to a healthy cell. Not to consume it or possess it, but to destroy it. Because goodness, innocence, humanity, these things are alien to him. Foreign, and maybe on some unconscious level, threatening. When they retconned the story and made Laurie his sister, it added another layer. Now there's a biological connection. They share DNA. They came from the same family. But Michael still wants her dead. That tells us something crucial. For Michael, family means nothing. Blood means nothing. Those bonds that are supposed to be the strongest, most primal connections humans have, they don't exist for him. He'd kill his sister, his niece, his own mother if she was alive, with the same blank expression and indifference. He'd kill a stranger. There's no concept of us versus them in his mind. Everyone is them. Everyone is equally disposable. Let's talk about his supernatural elements, because this is where psychology gets murky. Michael survives things that should kill him. Multiple gunshots, stabbings, being set on fire, falling from buildings. He just keeps getting back up. Now, in the universe, the explanation is that he's somehow beyond human, that he's evil incarnate, given physical form. But let's look at it through a trauma and disassociation lens for a second. There are documented cases of people in extreme psychological states, psychotic breaks, dissociative episodes, drug-induced states, who don't respond to pain the way normal people do, who sustain injuries that should incapacitate them and keep functioning. It's possible that Michael's complete psychological detachment extends to physical sensations, that his brain doesn't process pain, doesn't recognize damage to his body, doesn't have the normal fear responses that makes us stop when we're hurt. He's not supernatural. He's so fundamentally broken that his body doesn't obey normal human limitations. That's actually more terrifying than any supernatural explanation, because it means he's not magic. He's just that damaged. Now let's talk about what Michael represents psychologically and culturally. Horror movies usually have villains we can understand on some level. Freddy Krueger wants revenge. Jason protects his territory. Leatherface was raised in a cannibalistic family. There's always mostly a logic, twisted as it seems. Michael has no logic, and that's the point. He represents the randomness of evil, the fact that something bad happens for no reason, that sometimes people are just broken in ways we can't fix or understand or prevent. We want to believe that if we're good people, if we follow the rules, if we stay safe, nothing bad will happen to us. That violence has causes we can identify and avoid. Michael destroys all that. He kills the girl who's responsible and follows every rule, just as easily as he kills anyone else. There's no pattern, no way to protect yourself, except pure luck. And that taps into a primal fear that we're not actually safe, that there's no amount of goodness or caution that can protect us from something that operates outside all human understanding. Dr. Loomis says something in the first film that I think is key to understanding Michael psychologically. He says that he tried for 15 years to reach him, and then another 8 to keep him locked up, because he realized Michael was just waiting for the chance to do something he was born to do. That's not a person. That's a predator in human form. Animals don't kill out of evil. They kill for food, for territory, for survival. Their violence serves a biological purpose. Michael's violence serves no purpose. It's not for survival. It's not for pleasure. It's not even for the sake of violence itself. It just is. The same way a black hole just consumes everything that gets in the way. And maybe that's the ultimate horror of Michael Myers. He's not a person who became a monster. He never was a person to begin with. He looks human. He walks and breathes and bleeds like a human. But inside, where consciousness and emotion and humanity should be, there's just nothing. An empty space in the shape of a man. And that empty space kills because that's what he does. Not for any reason. Just because. So what does this tell us about real world psychology? It tells us that Not everyone who does terrible things had terrible things done to them. That sometimes the wiring is just wrong from the start. That our need to understand and explain and find causes doesn't always match reality. There are people in the world who function like Michael Myers. Not in the sense that they're unstoppable killing machines, but in the sense that there's nothing inside where conscious should be, and no amount of therapy, medication, or intervention can create something that was never there to begin with. That's what Dr. Loomis realized. That's why he stopped trying to treat Michael and started trying to destroy him. Because some things can't be fixed. They can only be stopped. Michael Myers is fiction, but the psychology he represents is very, very real. And that's why after 45 years and 13 movies, he still scares us. Not because of the mask or the knife or the body count, but because somewhere deep down, we know people like him exist in the world. And there's nothing we could do about it except to never encounter one. Stay safe out there. And if horror feels like home, you found it. Join the Dominion.